good morning. Today is the Tuesday, the 6th of February. Welcome to it, another episode of Kusile Breakfast Show. The prevailing topic today, as it is the 6th of February, the world observes the Internet, Safer Internet Day today, and we do want to connect with Kusile, who is the Client Relations Manager and Communications Manager at the Eswatini Communications Commission, about current online safety issues and roles played by different stakeholders just to create a safer Eswatini for young people on the internet. We'll talk about that later on the program at 7:30 when Kusile joins us on the program. Outside of that, it is a very good morning indeed. Welcome to it, Lungalele. A very good morning to you as well.
I'm well, I'm going. How are you this morning?
Doing really well today.
I'm great. Thank you for joining us this morning. It is the 6th of February 2024. Lamhla on the show style dibona tindzaba tetemvelo sikhuluma kabanti njengendzaba ye campaign lesikunyiswa nguhulumende eminyakeni wa 2020 kanye na UNDP on the 25th of November lebitwa ngokuthi iphatha sakho nawe campaign towards a plastic bag free Eswatini. Sikhuluma kabanti nje na yebelusile waka EEA Eswatini Environment Authority kuvuka ukuthi ingabe vele mhlambe sesifike safika phi engadoda indzaba tekusetshenziswa kwema reusable shopper bags lapha eSwatini. Sikhuluma ukuthi lena kwayi initiative to reduce single use plastic bags in Eswatini, which is contributing to SDGs 12, 13, 14 and 15. This campaign is also a response to the waste challenge posed by single-use plastic bags on the environment. See, at 6:30 because Eswatini utilizes approximately over 1.7 million free single-use plastic bags per month through 3 of the largest retail franchises in the country. So Stabesnaye at 6:30. Iphinze sikhulumisane nebaka Home Affairs takumele ukuthi they issued a statement last month bavete ukuthi before the end of February ma travel documents atabeseka khona lapha eSwatini. Sifuna ukuva ukuthi ke engabe leyo process leyo ihamba kanjani nekuthi vele atholwa ngilabo labane ma emergencies yini ma passport njoba litiko lavete ukuthi litawuneka bona. Sabesina Sandebile Mazibuko, who is the acting chief immigrations officer lomuhla kokumanje asibuke nathethamba embili kumaphephandaba. Asiqala sibuke i-Times of Eswatini sibuka lethamba embili. 16 wanted by cops for unrest terrorist acts. On the list are security officers, civilians who are believed to be hiding outside the country, and they allegedly abandoned homes, fled after getting tip-off that they were wanted. More on page 2. Government keeps promise as Mapiveni kids start school. Mabane CEO recruitment 2 reports submitted to the minister, and drink drivers fined over 5,000 each. Black Mamba causes stir at Manzini Lifestyle Center.
The leading story is PLE Stars Cup tied in Ingonyama Cup quarters as Palmer roadblock Musa among players ineligible to play for their new teams in the last 8 this coming weekend. There's this death. Family suspects poisoning. The death of the late legend Bonganindezi Masangane has been linked to suspected food poisoning, and that's according to his aunt, Togo Mazia. The last story comes from the Africa Cup of Nations, where Hugo Broos, wary of Nigeria, challenged in semi-finals. As South Africa coach, Hugo Broos is very wary of an ever-improving Nigeria, but believes his side can keep their surprise run going at the Africa Cup of Nations and come out victorious in tomorrow's semi-final in the Africa Cup of Nations.
Moving on to the Eswatini Observer, 4 clinics close as nurses are not paid. Stories on pages 2 and 3. FNB Foundation opens 1.38 million units of cyberspace. Master's Office admits fault in Viner's estate case. Employees blow whistle in firefighters recruitment, and Uncle Waffles shines with US singer.
Kutemidlalo, the leading story, it seems our sports pundit Linda Mastadlamini wasn't far off from, predicting what the problem is with Green Mamba as following their 5-game winless run, Ernest blames it on fatigue. Team has played 5 league games without a win and they face Nsingizini in Ingwenyama Cup. The coach, rather, is hopeful they will turn the corner. Another one, we need to win the league, according to Stofu of Army side Young Buffaloes, Mandla Stofu Dlamini, who says they need to win the MTN Premier League. Wanderers, surprised by Situmo's move. On the last leading story, there's the country's replica of Mama Joy from South Africa. Situmo Ngwenya's actions have left Imanzini Wanderers Duduzi and Mr. G. Gininza shocked to the core.
Asibuka Eswatini Daily News, kulethe hamba embili. WFP Eswatini appeals for 163 million amalangeni to feed Emaswati in 2024. Kulenyele hamba embili. Storm wreaks havoc in different parts of the country and progress on strategic oil reserve at Puzumoya as PM meets Taiwan experts.
Bobane Highlanders have done a first, suspending midfielder Enzo Mota for 30 days, even after he won his disciplinary case where he had been charged for misconduct recently. Bull put Enzo on ice. That's the leading story. We want revenge, according to Smoothies. Alves' sexual assault trial suspension has been rejected.
Right, ngilethwe thamba embili, sitawu sasekhefu sibene tindzaba taSwati.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho sivile sive sikhulume.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sembe ukukhicita lokusembili.
Since sinamukela ehlelweni sethabele nadidi indzaba ndvunankulu welive umhlonishwa Russell Mmiso Dlamini egameni lemakhosi hulumende nesive seMaswati sawulilele imindeni nahulumende wa7 lechile kulandzela ukuthi bantfu labalinganiselwa ekhulwini bashe bangcongce ngesikhathi ke kusuka lilangaphi kulelinye lemahlathi edolobheni Valparaiso khona ke echile ndvunankulu uthi uyathemba ukuthi belisito lwekucala nebemthetho abatawungenelela ekulweni nalesehlakalo lesivelile kulela live. Indvuna yemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana umhlonishwa Manqoba Khumalo ithi kunesidzingo sokuthi emave elivekati le-Afrika acinise achibele imitsetfo yawo kute kube malula kutsengiselana ngaphansi kwesivumelwano se-African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Indvuna beyikhuluma kulandzela ukuthi live laseSwatini licale kutsengisa impahla ngaphansi kwalesivumelwano.
Tindvuna tematiko temabhizinisi nekutsengiselana emave livekati le-Afrika evikini leliphelile ahlangene eveni leNingizimu Afrika lapho abongele khona live laseSwatini njengoba selicalile nalo ukutsengiselana ngaphansi kwesivumelwano sekutsengiselana lokude tingcabekelwano kwemave livekati le-Afrika i-African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Indvuna yelitiko letemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana umhlonishwa Manqoba Khumalo wenabe ngetincumo talomhlangano.
Lo mhlangano ke uhambe kahle kakhulu ngoba kunengile besikubuka sithi indvuna ukuchubeka lokho ukuthi sitawutsengiselana kanjani mhlawumbe mbekise ku digital trade lokho ukuthi yona ke sidayithini ngoba lokuningi nje besekuthengwa nyalo sekuthengwa digital sesibukela ema-movies siwabukele kubo Netflix kuthenga lokho sibukele tintfo kubo TikTok nabo Facebook leti mali leti spendwako eAfrika lapho tisetulu kusetele imithetho lethe eAfrika uma uthenga tintfo digitally sitabothengiselana kanjani so ke lokunye lebesikubuka lokunye ke lofike kwaba mhlawumbe i-highlight yalo mhlangano kube ukuthi emave akasakho lasihlanu kusukela mhla ka-31 January sekacalile asayakhona ukuthi athengiselane nemavekati e-Afrika kune-program ke lengaphasi kwale AfCFTA lebitwa nge-Guided Trade Initiative sakho ke songenile la ikhathi lokufaka ikhathi nelive lakangwane
live laseswatini masinyane litawube lisukumisa luhlaka lokusebenza nekuphumelela kwalezivumelwano kanti kungumanje nge-47 emave livekati le-Afrika lase alungise imithetho yawo ahambisana nemigomo yalezivumelwano etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Samkelsiwe khoza nginasimuva Shongwe ezulwini
Sihlalo welibandla letindvuna tembuso lelibuke tinsaya letikhona etiko letemphilo umhlonishwa wamanqoba Khumalo utsimo sesibangcono emitfolampilo kanye-ke nasetibhedlela telive ngekushoda kwemitsi nemaphilisi indvuna yethi ngekubambisana kwematiko ahulumende live-ke litawukhona kudivala letikhebesi letikhona kutemphilo
litiko laka-finance sihleli nalo phasi sathi cha beef up le team letawuya leka-health iyosita lokuprocessa lama-invoices bawaprocessa ngesikhathi esifishane kwangena ama-invoices e-treasury babhadalwa ngoba ngifuna ukuthi sive sathi akukase kwaba ukuthi kudde imali bekungukuthi kunema-internal inefficiencies labekabanga lokuthi labantu bangabhadalwa bese-ke nabo basakhona ukusebenza ngoba nabo phela bacuphe encane sikusebenzile ke lokho nje sibili sekusisitile nje impela ngoba sebayakhona lokho ukuthi basupply kwesibili ke sifake iprocess lekuthiwa i-emergency procurement plan lapho khona sithi ngubani ongasinika lemithi nekuphathima kweliso siyacela nesive ukuthi lapho khona kusashoda khona basatise through litiko laka-health ukuthi lapha kusenenkinga kulesibhedlela lesingifike ngakuthola ukuthi lokunye ke lobe sikusebenza sibuka le-central medical stores ukuthi lama-controls akanjani digital controls ema-controls la-physical kufana nama-camera kufana nama-tracking system etimoto kufana nabo-inventory control ukuthi tintfo tebiwayini ema-warehouse konke lokhu sikubukile saze sihamba saya nasetibhedlela njengasembabane safike sakubuka kwaba khona lawo ma-recommendations lesiwenda ngokuthi aku-improve kanje lokhu sijabulisa ukuthi itiko laka-health liyakusebenza konke lokhu
libhange le-First National Bank selinikelele University of Eswatini bongqongqomshini labasezingeni lelisetulu labangemashumi ema-desktop computers lamane kanye-ke nema-laptops lamathathu latawusetshenziswa abafunzi bakulesikolo abasachubeka netifundvo tabo.
Lempahla lebite imali lenganga 1.4 million emalangeni itawuzuza abafunzi bonke bakule nyuvesi njengoba sidzingo besisetulu kakhulu. Dennis Mbingo longumphathi khona ebhange le-FNB uthi batawuchubeka bayibambise inyuvesi kude bafunzi bangabi netinkinga letiningi uma basachubeka netifundvo tabo.
Umcoka ukuthi inawo lamathuluzi ukuthi bakhona ukufunza into letihambisana netechnology njengoba umhlaba sowugijima ngaloko lamhla siyabonga nje kubambisana neuniversity nekuthi umsebenzi lo nje ube sibonelo nenkhomba yokuthi kuningi lesingakwenda sitinkampani laSwatini tinkampani letiluswa maSwati tinkampani letiluswa nebekuhamba ukuthi sibambise le university ngoba imfundo lakhaya isisekelo.
Professor Justice Twala longu-Vice Chancellor kule nyuvesi ubonge kakhulu ke kilo libhange waveta nekokuthi lolu sito lolu lufike ngesikhathi lapho khona bayinyuvesi batimisele kuchubeka bafuna lusito kiyo emabhange netinkampani yeveni letawulekelela abafunzi.
lo msebenzi ufika lapho i-university vele iyadzinga kubambisana nemabhange ne-industry ukuze ukuthi sishintshe kubukeka kwale university. Lo ngikhuluma nje besakha strategic plan se-university lapho sishintsha khona from being university of choice sesithi aba-university lekhona-ke ukutimela iphindze iside nemiphakathi iphindze improve impilo tebantu.
Mengameli webafundzi Bongumenzi Dlamini uthi lempahla itawubasita kakhulu ngoba le mishina lebese bayisebentisa bese ingasasebenzi kahle lokubanga ukuthi kube netinkinga emkhatsini kwabo nabothishela.
Besinawo ama-computer lab ngaphambilini but bukhanza ukuthi mhlawumbe kusebenta 3 computers noma sebenta leyo 10 noma 15 computers are slow essentially because ngala kutinto ta ku technology nabo IT ku improve rather ku developer each and every day.
Lolu sito lufike esikhatsini lapho inyuvesi yakangwane ibhekeke netinsayeya letehlukene futhi idzinga kubanjiswa ngito tinkampani. Lobikela tindzaba te-Eswatini TV ngingiphokuhle Dlamini ngisekwaluseni kumatsapa.
Lemcebo waphansi netimayini tingumgogodla wetentfutfuko yelive. Lokho ke kuvetwe ngusihlalo welibandla lelengamele temcebo waphansi netimayini umbane Nkosi Guduza ngesikhathi litiko letemcebo waphansi lemukela indiza lenelusiba emhlane lechamuka event eNingizimu Afrika kanti ke itekta kwenta umsebenzi wekuhlola umcebo waphansi.
Litiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla kanye nelibandla lengamele letemcebo waphansi netimayini i-Minerals and Mining Management Board lihlangene esikhumulweni setindiza iKing Mswati III International Airport lapho bomukele baphinze bakhonjiswa khona ukuthi indiza lenelisuba emhlane letawuchuba sigaba sesibili selihlelo lokucwaninga ukuthi umcebo waphansi lapha even unganani futhi ukuphi i-multidisciplinary geomapping survey itawusebenta kanjani. Lolu hlelo livela seSwatini lisebenza ngekubanjiswa libandla letemcebo waphansi nemandla event eNingizimu Afrika kanti sihlalo libandla lengamele letemcebo waphansi nemandla netimayini umphane Nkosi Guduza uthi ngalolu hlelo umnotfo welive utawuthuthuka.
We believe this is going to help the country at large because now this is going to enable the investors to be able to determine what obtains depending on their various interests, what is it that they would love to mine in the country. And we, according to our wish, it will be like your job could have finished by yesterday so that we know the entire country, what does it have for us.
Mapalala lomkhulu kuleli tiko Dr. Dlamini ucele kubanjiswa sive litiko lisachuba lomsebenzi.
Ngicela ukukhuthata eMaswatini ukuthi njengoba bayibona le ndiza ihamba la emoyeni sivile ukuthi ihamba about 30 meters high ihambele edvute nemhlaba. Ngicela ningethuki eMaswati lamahla solong lo msebenzi lobo wendiwa kaManzini nakahoho. Asibuki la ngetulu kwemhlaba ukuthi kunani, sibuka ngaphansi kwemhlaba. Sifuna lama minerals lesinawo silive stokhona bese ke siyawamina sesi developer live lethu singeMaswati.
Jake Botha longunjinela lomkhulu ka New Resolution Geophysics uchaza kafishane ukuthi le ndiza isebenta njani.
We then receive the signal back in the middle, that fiberglass enclosure in the middle. We receive the signal from the metal, and that data gets analyzed. So we get a reading 25 times per second of what's under the ground.
Lo hlelo kubheka ukuthi luthathe tinyanga letimbili kuya kuletintathu kanti litawubita live tigizi letilishumi nesiphohlongo temalangeni 18 million. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Samkelsiwe Khoza ngise-King Mswati III International Airport.
Inhlangano lekhutsata kufundza kwemvana loyintfombatane seyiceceshe bothishela ukuthi babe nendlela lengcono lengasita emantfombatane lasafundza sikolo ukuthi afundze kangcono. Lobukeke tinhlelo kule nhlangano Thandishongwe uthi umfana loyintfombatane angadlala indzima lenkhulu yekuphakamiseni umjeka welive ikakhulukati kute science uma esekeleke kahle.
Lo mhlangano sikolwa wemalanga lamathathu ubanjwe ngesicubulo lesithi Gender Responsive Pedagogy for Teachers uhlose ikakhulu kati kuvunulisa bothishela ngetindlela tekulekelela abantwana labangemantfombatane kuti abe nempilo lengcono. Lubuketa inhlelo enhlanganweni yakafaweswa lekungiyona ihlelo lomhlangano Thandi Shongwe uthi amantombazane angayidlala inzima lebonakalako ekuphakamiseni umjeka welive ikakhulukati kude science.
Sibuke umfana nentombazana, ufunza kwemfana nentombazana kubakhuthaza ukuthi etikolweni abaqhubeke bafunze bangaphumi etikolweni nokuthi uma ngabe sokwenteke sibonakele batethwele ababuyele esikolweni. I-political education isabaqhubeke abantwana bafunze ibeka ngakusobala ukuthi umntwana akaqhubeke esikolweni, kepha sithi naqhubeka abuyele esikolweni angabe ezophindzetela uyophinza lokunye akakade sinyeloko sengilimele kube i-mistake bamba achubeke phinze futhi aphinze achubeke afunze. Siconze ukuthi abantu badala siwabone kube ngiwo lephakamisa le economy yelive.
Today we are here to speak to our teachers on having a gender responsive classroom where both girls and boys can participate equally.
Teresa Omondi loqhamuka kafaweswa eKenya uthi bayinhlangano bakhuthata kona kulingana kutebulili indvo latsi kumele ifundziseke kahle etikolweni. Lo khulumele bothishela Zwelithini Mpimbili uvetile kwekuthi lolu hlelo lutabasita kakhulu ngoba lutabahlomisa bakhone kuyosita abafundzi etikolweni.
Lokusifundisa kwabo siyathemba nathi ukuthi masibela emakhaya noma ke etikolweni batafike siwendlulisela umlayeto bantwana bakhona ukuthi basita kahle.
Njengoba namuhla kukhulunywe tindzaba tekuhlukubetana ngebulili, umhlangano utawuchubeka kuze kube ngumgcibelo la kutawukhulunyiswa khona letinye tindzaba kufaka ekhatsi kuhlalisana ngekuthula kwabafundzi emaklasini, kwemukelana ngetinkholo ngekwehlukana kwato kanye nalokunyenti. Kubika Phokuhle Dlamini etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV ngihamba naSimuva Shongwe kumadonsa.
Libhange i-Central Bank itsile uhlelo lwekukoleka imininingwane ngendlela sivele sisebentisa ngayo imali kubhadala tintfo letahlukene nangaphandle kwelive lelatiwa-ke nge-Cross-Border Foreign Exchange Transaction Reporting System version number 3 lutawudlala indzima lebanti ekutfutfukiseni umnotfo welive. Lokhu-ke kuvetwe ngumduduzi mtsetfwa lobukete timali kuleli bhange uma achaza kabanti ngalolu hlelo lolisukunyiswe nguleli bhange evikini leliphelile.
Ihleti emkhatsini wemabhange ne-Central Bank. So umsebenzi wayo wekuthi i-report noma ibikele Central Bank ukuthi eMaswati la lenda i-business noma ke la transactor nemabhange lokufaka ekhathi bo Standard Bank, FNB, Nedbank bahambise eMaswati ahambise imali lengakanani kuya ngaphandle aphinze eMaswati netinkampani areceive imali lengakanani lababhadalwa yona lichamuka ngephandle noma nangabe khona lebe bakuthengisile batinkampani takangwane sebayabhadalwa. So le system imsebenzi wayo ukuthi ireporte leyo information leyo ngesikhathi lesifanele ngelanga lelilandzelako nje nakwenteke namuhla kufanele konke kufikile eCentral Bank ngendlela yakhona ukuthi ngubani lobeka bhadala ini kusho nedate lokuthi nangabe bekahambisa imali ayisa kuphi kubani and kusuke endani lo muntu loyo noma leyo nkampani leyo. Ngitawungena kakhulu kulokwakha ipolicy. Nasikhuluma ngepolicy le ndiwa live. One, ukuze kutoba nepolicy le sound kufuneka bakhulumise i-data pool letside wekuthi kuhamba njani ngetindzaba tebantu labente emabhizinisi nababhadalwa noma ababhadalwa. Kuthi-ke kungaba khona leyo data leyo vele nelisiwe iye bese seyihlalwa phasi yacwaningwa lokuthi ingabe ukuze kuto improveka i-ease of doing business as a country le data lekolekiwe iya interpretwa.
Bosomabhizinisi lapha eveni sabatawukwentelwa indlela lelula yokuletha imibiko yemabhizinisi abo ngetebuciko ngaphansi kwelihlelo i-Integrated Revenue Administration System. Kanti-ke lobukete kumaketha enkampanini lebutsa umthelo i-Eswatini Revenue Service Vusi Dlamini uthi lena ngulenye yetindlela labacinisekisa ngayo ukuthi kuba melula kwenta ibhizinisi lapha eveni.
Siyathi bosomabhizinisi ikakhulukati kufanele ukuthi basilethele imbiko njalo ngenyanga ikakhulukati labo babhalisela i-VAT kanjalo nabo phezu and lolu hlelo lolu ke indlela lensha yekwenda tindwo kusho ukuthi le system yethu lesi introduceako sitawuthi sithi IRAS sitawuthi ke sisetayiphakamisa kahle ngalokho semthethweni iyehluka kancane mhlawumbe kule bosomabhizinisi labakujwayele nyalo lele sithi i-tax kubhekekile ukuthi kube nema improvements lathide mhlawumbe kule system lena lensha lesithi silungiselela kuyiphakamisa sitawuphuma ke sicishe sibafundise nabosomabhizinisi ukuthi engabe lo hlelo lolu litawusebenza kanjani mhlawumbe umuntu angachaza nje ukuthi kwekucala sitawuthi kulele sasebenzisa nyalo i-system usebenzisa nakulesithi taxpayer identification number kepha ke nangabe sisebenzisa lo hlelo lolusha utawusebenzisa i-email siyathi ke ukuthi i-email nawu yakhe i-email address vele isuke iyakho akudzingi ukuthi mhlawumbe kube nemuntu otakukhumbuta ukuthi ngabe ithini leyo email address yakho lesifuna ke ukugcizelela ukuthi kumcoka ukuthi bosomabhizinisi ba make sure ukuthi kule system lesayisebenzisa nyalo lawo ma email addresses abo are up to date kumcoka kakhulu ngoba nasesakha lo hlelo lolusha sitawuthatha le information le kule system lensha bese siyifaka ngala kumcoka ukuthi lawo ma email addresses abo abe correct kunetinto mhlawumbe lesitawubheka ukuthi naselisebente kahle lo hlelo ngoba sital introduce ngilawuthi ngema phases iphase yokucala nje sinelo sisethemba ukuthi naselisebenta etinzabeni de-VAT siyathi bosomabhizinisi kufanele basi attachele nakulesithi schedule sekuthi engabe bathengiselene nabo bani bathengisele bobani kuloku ke lo hlelo lolusha batawukhona ukuthi lokho bavele bakufakela kule system kungadzingi ukuthi mhlawumbe bakuthumele kithi.
Kutemidlalo umceceshi welicembu leManzini Wanderers nyanga yezizwe Hlophe uthi sebakwente konke lokusemandleni abo babaceceshe kutheni leli cembu litfole imiphumela lemihle losekuseleke nyalo ukuthi balandzeli baleli cembu basale benta umsebenzi wabo wekugcwalisa inkundla la kudlalela khona iWanderers. Hlophe bekakhuluma ngemuva kwekuthi licembu leManzini Wanderers likhale phansi kuReal Leopards ngeligoli linye ecanzeni kulemphela sonto.
Kulembela somva licembu leManzini Wanderers belithwana nelicembu leRoyal Leopards emidlalweni weM10 Premier League lethembile ukuthi litodlala kahle kulandzela ukuthi belingakaze lakhala phasi emidlalweni yeM10 Premier League lemine lendlulile. Lelicembu ligcine likhala phasi kuRoyal Leopards ngamagoli 4 kulamabili. Kanti umceceshi walo uthi badlale kahle badlali bakhe kodwa ke sekushoda nje indvo yinye.
Lenyalo singi support kuma fans kakhulu tatobukela. Ngoba iWanderers ngathi ranisha yona bete batobukela babangumsindo basisite babe ngu12 player basisite labantwana laba kakhulu labefikako bathanza ukuthi badlala bakhanza sekunemsindo nje at the same time kutabe khona lo ngenako babe baba supporta ngiyona ndlela ema supporters la ngasupporta ngawo etatobukela lebhola bese ke asethuka ngithuke mina hey kunjanjani but betile kutobukela hayi lokuthi utawuhlala le ubezusolo umuntu le awukayine kuyobukela.
Kanti umceceshi weRoyal Leopards Edwin Matsebula uthi noma licembu lakhe lihlete esicongweni kodwa ke iseyinze indlela.
Okay, it's a step forward now because league is marathon, so you can't win it in a fluke. You need to be consistent because ukhona kuwina league. So we'll take one game at a time. Sibona ukuthi isibhenga.
iRoyal Leopards kunginyalo ihlete esicongweni nemaphuzu lang-31 ilandzelwa licembu leMbabane Swallows linamaphuzu lang-29 bambene neYoung Buffaloes nayo lina-29. iManzini Wanderers isendzaweni yesibili emsileni inamaphuzu lang-12 ishiya iMountain Pirates amaphuzu lamabili eyona linamaphuzu la-10. Lobikela umsakazo Eswatini TV temidlalo ngilida Dlamini eMbabane.
Sekela lamabhalane wenhlangano yemidlalo wevolleyball kuleli nobuhle Dlamini uthi kusukela kuqala imidlalo yema-series eminyakeni lophelile. Le midlalo ikhomba kukhula njengoba ke sekude licembu lelinqoba umdlalo walo kamelula. Dlamini bekakhuluma nakuchubeka imidlalo ye-series yesithathu kule mpelasonto e-Olympia Africa kalobamba. Tingako teswati sitabuka simo selitulu sibahlule emakethe nasibuya sikhulumisana nalababukeke temvelo.
I'm a very happy customer.
I know.
Imali ebhizinisi ayivika wayidla utobulala phansi.
Hayi ngimsebenzi yethu lesindako la ekhaya njengoba niyibona limihle nakangaka.
Ngiyagolosha which is crocheting.
Ngiyakhicita ke noko kakhulu emsebenzini wethu ikhumba.
Ngenda kwegaba emacici nokwegaba entsanyeni.
Ngilungisa emagedlela.
Hello, how are you? We are selling peanuts at 5. Thank you so much. Umdala kubusi. Pandi strat babe.
Asifise sinibukele sakuvusela nawo losanza kusivulela besivetile ukuthi sisita besikhuluma kabanti ngetingoti letita ngekusetshenziswa kwemaplastiki. Inhlangano kaMhlaba UNDP kanye nelitiko letekuvakasha Environmental Affairs ngaNovember mnyaka 2020 launched the Phatha Sakho Nawe campaign towards a plastic bag free Eswatini, which was an advocacy initiative to reduce single-use plastic bags in Eswatini, contributing to SDGs 12, 13, 14 and 15. Why response to the waste challenge posed by single-use plastic bags on the environment. Research gave it again ukuthi Eswatini utilizes approximately over 1.7 million plastic per month. Lekuyinombolo lenkulu kade sifuna kuva ke kuyabelusile Mhlanga wayo inhlangano Eswatini Environment Authority tingoti letihambisana nekusetshenziswa kwama plastic, and also kuva nje ukuthi what did we learn ngePhatha Sakho campaign. Asifusele Mhlanga, thank you for joining us. Siyabonga ukuthi ube nathi lo mhla eksena. I think iPhatha Sakho campaign bekuyi campaign lekahle kakhulu bambe batitela ama plastic abo imithwalo yabo kungasetshenziswa kakhulu ama plastic bese kubonakele kungathi ayingodi kakhulu kati emfuyweni yelive leSwatini. What did we learn kahle kahle kiwona umkhankaso lona?
Lo mkhankaso waphatha sakho nawe wasifundisa lokuningi kakhulu. Kwekucala nje ukuthi lonke eliswati lati ngenzaba yemaplastiki ukuthi bungoti bawo buyini njengoba bekasinakafika etitolo abone ukuthi kunesidingo manje sekuthi athole kwekuphatha la ngaphindze futhi akusebenzise. Lesakufunza ke lapho ngiloko ukuthi lisivela kangwane lingakhona vele kuphila ngaphandle kwawo lamaplastiki lawa ekuphatha ema-groceries. Ikakhulu kati njengoba lo mkhankaso wasita ukuthi sinciphise kusebenta kwamaplastiki la kangwane nga-60%. Lokunye futhi lesakubona ukuthi banikati betitolo nabo bebangilabo labasibambisako nawo futhi ema-consumers labaningi vele bebakhala ngako ukuthi sesifikile isikhathi lapho khona silivela kangwane kufune sicabange ukuthi indzaba yemaplastiki vele singasawasebenzisi njengoba nje saphinde saba naletinye inhlelo ngaphandle kwalophatha sakho lapho khona bese sihlangane njalo ngeminyaka sikhulume tona tindzaba temaplastiki tona tindzaba tetibi letanzile evenda kangwane.
Kusita kanganani vele lokuthi sisebenzise lama reusable shopper bags compared to lama plastic besides ukuthi lama shopper bags vele asave imali yini tingoti telama plastic vele sibonile ukuthi vele ni postile nje ku social media yani ukuthi one of the dangers ukuthi vele tinkhomo bese tiyawadla ama plastic and also mangabe siwashisa futhi nakhona kuyingoti nakuloko isichazele kabanti njengalato tingoti tekusebenzisa ama plastic.
Li plastic linemthelela etimpilweni tebantfu sithi kunema health impacts phindze futhi sithi linemthelela nakuyo futhi imvelo lesithi ngama environmental impacts. Lokwendekako njena masikhumbula icensus ya 2017 yakhipha licwaningo ukuthi la kangwane 80% wethu tibitethu nangabe sitilondvolota ngekuthi sitishise. Lokufaka ekhathi leto tibileto takhiwa ingcenye yakhona leningi kakhulu kuba ngona lama plastic. Nawushisa ke iplastiki kunebuthi lokuphumako lakhathi labathi bo science ima dioxins nema furans. Nabawacwaninga atholakala ukuthi nakangena emtimbeni womuntu nangabe nje uyashisa namuhla uhosha lentfuthu angena la mtimbeni wakho ayakhela lokusho ukuthi emva kwesikhathi agcine asakhele asamaningi la mtimbeni wakho ngani anabo bungoti bekuthi angabanga sifo samdlavuza icancer. Sibonile ke kusilivela kangwane ngilelinye nalo leli netinkinga tekuthi bani labaningi banaso lesifo samdlavuza lokuyicancer. Kanti futhi nangabe ungumake ukhulelwe noma umunyisa njengoba ngithi kuyakhela la mtimbeni wakho lokusho ukuthi naleli bisi lotalimunyisa lo mphana nalo litabe nalobuthi lesithi ngilama dioxins nalama furans andike lapho ke kubantwana kuyabanga ukuthi umphana bese soba nema learning difficulties nasafika esikolweni. Dinkinga leto lesitibonile letisabalele laveni lethu nemhlaba wonke. Kanti lokunye ke njengoba shide ukuthi tinkhomo tiyawadla lama plastic. Le nyama leyo ngeke nje uhambe uyithengisa soyithengisela le market lena yase Europe. Sikubonile ke nasetikhathini letiphelile la kuthengiswa khona letimfuyo ukhanze ukuthi lidamu sebaze bayalivala ngenzabe ukuthi kunalama plastic kunalama disposable atholakala kule nyama. Le nyama iba condemned once yaba nale timvo leti kungcola la kuyo. Lokunye ke futhi ke nakuyo nje imvelo njengoba nje nasikhala ngokuthi kunetimvula kunema storms kulamalanga ungaya la kulama drains la khona abomasipala lenye yale flooding ibangwa ngito letindzaba ukuthi kufike kuvalela ama plastic ayawasheka ashone ngisho emfuleni afika avale ema blowhorn ethu kugcine sekubanga ukuthi si experience bona labo flooding lesikhala ngabo ukhanze ukuthi i-infrastructure seyalimala ngaleyo ndlela ngokuthi emanti asakhelene azaba maningi ngalokuthi kunalokungcola lokukhona la khathi letindzawo la ngakhamba khona emanti.
Lethi vela ingoti kakhulu kumele vele mhlambe shothamiso ukuthengiswa la titolo sesihambe phithene mhlambe silive leSwatini nasibukhuluma nje ngetindzaba tukubhenisha kusetshenziswa kwama plastic.
Njengoba nje sacela lo mkhankaso nga-2020 nehulumende ke naye bekakathe akha umthetho ngekubuka ke ngathi uhulumende ubuka tinhlangothi letiningi kakhulu nekokuthi kuze kufike la endzabeni ekuthi ema plastic singawabhenisha yini akusiyo into levele nje itendakalele sicala ngabo bona labo phatha sakho so lokuzama kubuka ukuthi kuthi kabeta diphi tingoni engabe vele wona lama alternatives nasekuthiwa sekudele plastic sitawukhona inikulive ukuthi sikhicide ema alternatives bantu labangakhona ukuthi bawasebenzise. So nga 2021 kwashwaya lo umthetho lekuthiwa i-Plastic Bags Control Regulation. Wona-ke bongawabheni lama-plastic kunaloko bokuthi asesicale ngokokuthi mhlawumbe kube ne-levy lethathwako kulama-plastic. Letawukhona ukuthi le mali leyo ihambe iye kuso sikhwama setemvelo i-Eswatini Environment Fund kuze kuthi kutosukumiswa tinhlelo tekokuthi kukhona ukuthi kudilwe nale inkinga yetibi kufake ekhathi nawo lama-plastic. Kwanyalo ke uhulumende la kwendako usabukele lo hlelo lelo nekokuthi njengoba nje nakuphatha sakho sayenda i-evaluation yakhe njengoba ngishito nje kuthi wehlisa nga-60% ma-plastic. Nakhona ke kulolu hlelo lolu lesilwendako sitawusukumisa lucwaningo lapho khona sitawubuka ukuthi engabe vele i-impact yale levy ikanjani. Sisebonile nje preliminary ukuthi kunetitolo lesetiyekelile vele kusebenzisa ama-plastic. Siyadibonga leto titolo leto letifana nabo Pep Stores, letifana nabo Truworths, letifana nabo Clicks kanye nabo Woolworths. So siyabona nako lokho dinkhomba ukuthi kukhona labayibonako lenkinga yawo lama-plastic bese sebanikete amakhasimende abo tinhlelo leto letingcono. So sitalwenda lelicwaningo ukubuka vele ukuthi kulokubili nawubuka phatha sakho ubuka nale levy ngukuphi lokunemthelela lemihle kuyo imvelo nakutodona letimpilo tebantu lesifuna ukuphephisa.
Ushuto belusile ukuthi vele indzaba yama-plastic inkulu kade kungasiwo wona kuphela. I think vele nenza ama-disposable naphezulu ukuthi vele asabalele even lonke nasemifuleni kwenza ukuthi imfuyo sokhanza ukuthi seyidla wona lama-plastic mama-disposable. Ngabe kuba khona yini tinhlelo leninato kayi-8 ku-engage nje nesive nivakashele imimango nibachazele ngawo lama-dangers noma ketingoti tekusetshenziswa budlabha kuma-plastic?
Tinhlelo sinato neminimango nayo futhi iye isibide ukuthi sitokhulumisa tona tindzaba temvelo njengoba tibandi. Lokunye ke futhi lesiphindze sisachubeka nawo indzaba ya Clean Eswatini lama campaign lapho khona sikhuthata lemimango ukuthi ayiphume ihlande tindzawo leto lehlala kudo ngaso sonke isikhathi. Ekupheleni kwenyanga nje siyakhuthata lokuthi ayiphume imango ihambe iyo clean. Lolunye ke luhlelo ke lesicala ngayo i-Eswatini Environment Fund ngiloko ukuthi sifake letinhlelo letekubuthwa kwetibi ngoba ikakhulukati lokunyelo kuyinkinga kunenzabe ukuthi tibi ukhanza ukuthi labantu bahlala etindzaweni lapho khona abasakhona ukuthi mhlambe angemba umgodi alahle tibi ngendlela ethichiteka ngayo setiningi kakhulu. Sinetinhlelo ke through ifund lapho khona imango iyabhala ifake ticelo ibese seyithola ke kusitakala ngato letimpote ukuthi bathwale tibi batikoleke emangweni. Kungabakhuthata nje sive ukuthi laba tinhlangano letizama kuhlobisa imango ngekukoleka tibi emakhaya asitibambiseni njengoba kubhekekile ukuthi phela likhaya ngelikhaya libhalise kuze ukuthi litokhona kukolekelwa letibi. Nalomsebenzi ke uhambisana netindleko sivile ukuthi kukhona leyo phokhona khanza ukuthi lamanye emakhaya sekuba ne-resistance abasafuni kuba bambisa sebevungaza ukuthi ngabe bathathela letibi mahala. Lokunye kungaba nekucela nje esiveni lomkhuba lomubi ikakhulukade ukuthi umuntu ophuma netibi takhe endlini utathe naye itibi tami ngifike ngilahle emsebentini uthi le tibi nasatithethe athi angafika lapha kwemgwaqo afike atilahle leto tibi leto. Sitibonile tinkinga letinjengaleti kakhulukade kule migwaqo lemikhulu nawuhamba njengeyitha abantu highway kunetindzawo lapho abantu sebafike balahle khona tibi. Siyaxwayisa kuloko ukuthi abakuyekele nangabe futhi umbona umuntu akwenda lokho siyacela ukuthi ungathatha sithombe ungathatha ne-number plate yaleyo moto leyo ngoba mntana dinkinga longathi kulamalanga sibhekene nato kakhulu ikakhulukade kuwo lama-disposables netibi nje letiphuma ekhathi endlini. Kulabanye ukhanze ukuthi umuntu uyakha so ukhipha letibi leti bekakade dabo ceiling labajubekile emaphepha konke soyahamba yolahla enzaweni mhlawumbe lokhanza kuthi lihlathi noma khona lapha eceleni kwemgwaqo sekugcina sekwakheka i-dump site.
Yeah, kwagcina nje kafishana kuba kepha lama fines alokutfolakala ukuthi ulahle etibi ngalokho ngekho emthethweni athini vele.
Lama fines ayahlukana ndangabe nje ulahle tibi sesithi letilithandana usubjective ke lo lithandana sesithi 5000 emalangeni leto. Kepha ke umuntu losinakamba ngetinyawo noma hamba ngemoto alahle tibi ngelifastelo kuba ngu50 emalangeni lokho.
Okay. Nosibonga kakhulu Belisile kuba nathi lamhla ehlelo nibukeli besikhuluma Donatins about kusantshetiswa kwema reusable shopper bags siveke siyakhuthaza ukuthi sisuke ngala kusantshetisweni kwama plastic ngalokuthi nawo eta netingoti letiningi maswada sebenzise lawo latawukhona ukuthi aphinze akhona ukwasebenzisa futhi ema reusable shopper bags. Sabahle temangethana sibuya sabe sikhulumisana na Acting Chief Immigrations Officer.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Asimizela sinamukele sivedele ukuthi sitabe sikhulumisana na Acting Chief Immigrations Officer Sandile Masibuko kuva nje progress ngetindzabeni tekukhicitwa kwama travel documents udakumla ukuthi litiko likhokhe nje statement esekuthi before kuphela inyanga lesetulu yendlovana ema travel documents will be available lapha even Eswatini. Le statement ke sachubeka saveta ukuthi in the interim the ministry ya introduce ema short term measures la fire khathi ukuthi ema travel documents atawuthola ngilabo labanetincwadi letisuka kadokotela noma labanama study permits nama work permits nalokunye noma ke nalamanye ema emergencies. Sifuna kuva abantu ukuthi ngabe kusahamba kanjani tindzabeni tekhicitwa kwawo lama travel documents ukuthi litiko nalibukile vele atawube sekakhona yini before the end of February. Asivusele mazibuko siyabonga ukuthi ube nathi elomhla ekseni ngabe vele mhlambe etindzabeni talo kuma kuintroduce kwama short measures lokuthi lama travel documents athole ngilabo vele labana emergencies ingabe kusachubeka kanjalo yini vele esisamele le batch letako lapha even.
Siyavusela msakadi siphinze sivusele nababukele emakhaya sibonge ukuthola lithuba ukuthi ngesimemena namhle kuseni. Enzabeni ye kutholakala kwama passport mhlambe umuntu angacondzisa nje lokuthi litiko yebo like labane challenge enzabeni yalama passport ngetizathu lokhanza ukuthi kwendiwa indzaba ye COVID mhlambe tinengana tiyashiyana but nje sa-affectwa yi-COVID the started 2 years. So in the event ke kwakhanzakala lokuthi kwaba nema restrictions lenda singato ukhona ke nokusinathi sithenge because kwaba nemigomo nembanzela leyalethwa yi-COVID lenda ke ukuthi mhlambe tingapane tivalwe nendlela ke yoku-operate nje ungakhona ungumuntu ukuthi ungenda anything. So kwabese-ke sekuba ne-challenge-ke ukuthi bantu basesehlede emakhaya balahlekelwa, mhlawumbe abanye bafike babika lokho ukuthi ama-passport asabalahlekele mase kufuliwe sibafuna lokuhamba, labanye babika ngenaloko ukuthi mhlawumbe onakele ama-passport. So-ke lokho kwaletha-ke celo-ke lesinengi sema-applications. As a result satikhanza-ke sesi-affectekile kulama stock levels besinawo. So-ke mhlambe kuningi sike sakubika ngaphambilini nyalo kubika kubuya kulesigaba lesibudako ukuthi kuhamba kanjani lama restrictions labekhona, mhlambe-ke noma lama measures lesike sawafaka selidiko kungaba kucondzisa futhi lokuthi kunanalihlobo le-passport le kuyi-travel document lehamba la within SADC ngiyo kakhulukazi le beyisiphelele le besiyifake-ke yona i-distribution yakhona itholakala phose onke ama-service centers ethu. So-ke sabe sesiyacontrola-ke lokuthi ngalokhu sesekuya ngasekupheleni sale-ke sibisa-ke la e-headquarters ukuthi atotholakala khona. So nyalo-ke sibe sesithi-ke cha ngilenye image yokucontrola leyo lokuthi cha akatholakala la, and then noma-ke umuntu asacela-ke afaka isicelo lokuthi ufuna ukuhamba sesithi ngoba phela naku ukuthi awukhanza ukuthi ticelo tebantu tiyashiyana, ukhona nje lo mhlambe yena uyifakile nje i-application ngokuthi uplana ukuthi utawuhamba nini, sesithi cha asesike si-prioritize sifune naba labana lama-agent needs. So-ke sibese sesithi-ke cha mawufika ungumuntu uto-applya izama lokuthi usibekele lokho ukuthi cha wena unesidingeko lesiphuthumako lesi nebufakazi ukuthi ngisiphi lesidingeko lesiphuthumako lo funa kuya kuso. Ngiyabekisa njengoba uke wakuveta nje uhamba uya emsebentini ngoba phela abantu bebakhona basemakhaya, so sebabuya-ke sebasiba emsebentini. So maya-ke emsebentini kuyaye kube nencwasi lekhombako lokuthi cha vele noma ucashiwe noma-ke uya kudokotela. So kanjalo nalapho besifuna-ke ukuthi sithole leyo nto lengaba nebufakazi nje lokuthi vele uya kudokotela kwasa-appointment letter. So vele sisakwenda kanjalo. Ema-international passport asesekhona ayatholakala wona sikase saba nenkinga nawo besolo nje abantu ba-applya ngale ndlela le dayilekile lokuwatfola bawathole.
Ngathi ngigcina kwami nje emazibuko nawuyele kuyo passport mawufike ekuseni nje boyitfola mhlambe entsambama emini noma ngakusasa nyalo ukhuluma ngendaba yokuthi kumele apply kulesikhathi lesinje lapho mhlambe nisanake laba bema emergencies uyakhona nikufika mhlambe sengivele nginawo lamaphepha ami elatshengisako ukuthi vele ne emergency ngiyakhona ukutfola leso sikhathi uma vele kusamele ukuthi nakhona ngime esikhashanyana ama-hour noma emalanga lathide.
Cha ngiyabonga Msakade, vele nyalo sekwehlukile akusafana nakucala indlela lesisi-operator ngayo ngiloko ukuthi kufuna kucale kunale process yokuthi kufuna sicale sisefe lama request. So njoba ngike ngachaza ekuqaleni lokuthi labantu nyalo beta in large numbers. So-ke kuyi-process nalokuthi nje ucale usefe lama request ukubuke konke kusuko lokhu kukahleni kuyi-in order and then-ke bese uyakuyisa-ke for production. So akusafana nakucala kanzi kucala ngalokuthi besivulile nakuma-service centers ethu onke lapho khona umuntu bekafika asuka tutana nasekhaya kakhe ayothola i-service ye-passport a-apply so kuchithwa nje konke kuhamba kahle. So vele bekwenta ukuthi lokho umuntu ayithole ngelanga, but-ke nyalo lama processes abita lokho ukuthi vele kudelay lokho ukuthi sikhicite ngelanga because safuna ukuthi siscreen onke lama request kahle bese-ke siyahamba-ke soyifaka angikhanti-ke seyitawuphuma ukhanza ukuthi kuthatha ilanga noma mabili.
Indvuna nje kule statement leyasikhokha iyaqinisekisa nje siveza amaswati ukuthi before the end of February kulomnyaka ama-travel documents atabe sekatfolakala. Ngabe nani nikhulumisana mhlambe nayo inkampani lenibambisile ekhiciteni kwala ama-travel documents vele kusatawuba njalo yini emazibuko singagatha vele ukuthi ungakapheli February atabe sakhona?
Cha induna enda umsebenzi lomkhulu kakhulu because nathi sasinale pressure ukuthi vele sibaba sesiyabuka sibhekela ekhalweni ukuthi kukhona yini mhlambe labangasendela kona masinyane kwase kuyabonakala ukuthi ungazuthi dawudzinga ukuthi vele ihambe iye khona iyo bakhutsata iyo faka sicelo usabamane basisale basi endela ukuthi bamane ba sheshe siwatfole ngaloko ukuthi sinale pressure so ke cha uma ekhulumisaneni kwendvuna nabo kwavela lokho ukuthi cha bona ngalo February ngeke uphele lo February emkhathini wa February sidabe sesinawo so ke sithi tema sesikhulumisana aphinde futhi nasesenda le follow up phela kulandzela ukukhuluma kwabo bavumelane nendvuna cha basho lo sicha bona nje ema passport batabe bawa release mhlambe lokunye lokufanele sesikuvete la because siwa sosa khashane siwasosa khashane so siwasosa khashane ke kunaloku travela kwawo kudangala nako lokuthasa lichanyana but bathi nje wona batawa susa lena mhla ka12 so siyethemba ukuthi ayawufika ke eJozi bomhla ka14 15 so bese ke siyahamba ke siyawathola khona so vele lokusho kona ukuthi cha lesethembiso basigcinile lokuthi angeke uphele lo February so sinewethemba nje lokuthi bantu mhlawumbe emva kwalo mhla ka14 kuya le ma passport masafikile because okay kunalama processes aloku kulanza ke nawo lokungasinje into elanga linye lekufuna ukuthi siphindze sinikete iallowance yakho so ke siyethemba lokuthi emva kwaloko kukhicitwa kwema passport kutawubuyela esimeni bantu bawatfole kudo tonke tinhlanganiso lapho kona sofayisha iservice yethu sing immigration.
Okay.
So sinaloko nje msakade.
Kumekugcina nje kepha la khona manje lawa abantu labana emergencies ngimaphi ngilawa ama page lamangaki.
Okay, mhlambe singakuvetela ukuthi ama passport ethu atinhlobo letehlukene kulama travel documents na 32 ema page lawo asuke akhelwa nabo abantu lokwenza ukuthi abahambi kakhulu bayahamba nje kodwa hayi kakhulu bese ke kuba na 48 ema page lawo ke endelwe naba labahamba kakhudlwanyana then ke bese kuba na 64 page lawo ke ngilaba vele okhanza ukuthi on a daily basis baphuma bayangena egedeni khanza usiba bahamba utawucrossa umuntu kathathu noma ka4 so lo ahamba naleti imali ke takhona tiyahlukana lo 64 page nje u500 bese kusilo 48 u300 and then lo 32 page yena u150.
Nasibakhulu masibuko usiniketa nje leyo updates ngawo ema travel documents esembe ukuthi ungakapheli vele February ema travel documents atabe sekatfolakala lapha eveni ngekusho noma ke ngekuthembisa kwalo litiko asibahlute mangithi sibene tindzaba singisi.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is the news at 7. His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Eswatini, Russell Dlamini, on behalf of Their Majesties, government, and the entire Swazi nation, has expressed Eswatini's deepest condolences to the nation of Chile following a fire tragedy that claimed over 100 lives. The Prime Minister says he prays and hopes that all emergency respondents will intervene on this disaster. The Honourable Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Manqoba Khumalo, says African countries, including Eswatini, must align domestic policy and legal frameworks with the obligations of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. He says this is to ensure that they reap the fruits of the Continental Agreement. The minister says Eswatini has also started trading under the AfCFTA.
African member states, through the Ministers of Commerce, Industry and Trade, gathered in South Africa last week for the launch of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement's Guided Trade Initiative, where they applauded the Kingdom of Eswatini for starting the trade under the AfCFTA. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, the Honourable Manqoba Khumalo, gave resolutions of the meeting.
Lo mhlangano ke uhambe kahle kakhulu ngoba kunengi lebesikubuka sithi indvuna ukuchubeka lokho ukuthi sitawuthengiselana kanjani mhlawumbe mbekise ku digital trade lokho ukuthi yona ke sidayithini ngoba lokuningi nje losokuthengwa nyalo sekuthengwa digital sesibukela ema movies siwabukele kubo Netflix kuthenga lokho sibukele tintfo kubo TikTok nabo Facebook leti mali leti spendwako eAfrica lapho tisetulu kusetele imithetho lethe eAfrica uma uthenga tintfo digitally sitabothengiselana kanjani so ke lokunye lebesikubuka lokunye ke lofike kwaba mhlawumbe highlight yalo mhlangano kube ukuthi emave akasakho lasihlanu kusukela mhla ka-31 January sekaqalile asayakhona ukuthi athengiselane nemavekati eAfrika kune program ke lengaphasi kwale AfCFTA lebitwa nge-Guided Trade Initiative sakho ke songenile la ikhathi lokufaka ikhathi nelive lakangwane.
The Kingdom of Eswatini will soon launch the National AfCFTA Implementation Strategy and Action Plan, whereas as of April 2023, 46 of the 54 African countries had ratified the agreement. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Zimuva Shongwe, Zunwini.
The chairperson of the Cabinet Subcommittee on Health, the Honourable Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Manqoba Khumalo, says medical shortage issues have been eased. The minister also says with collaborative efforts, the country can resolve these issues.
Litiko la finance sihleli nalo phasi sathi cha beef up le team letawuya leka health iyosita lokuprocessa lama invoices bawaprocessa ngesikhathi esifishane kwangena ama invoices e-treasury babhadalwa ngoba ngifuna sive sathi akukase kwaba ukuthi kudima imali bekungukuthi kunema internal inefficiencies labekabanga lokuthi labantu bangabhadalwa bese ke nabo basakhona ukusebenza ngoba nabo phela bacuphe enqeni sikusebenzile ke lokho nje sibili sekusisitile nje impela ngoba sebayakhona lokuthi basupply kwesibili ke sifake iprocess lekuthiwa emergency procurement plan lapho khona sithi ngubani ongasinika lemithi nekuphathima kweliso siyacela nesive ukuthi lapho khona kusashoda khona basatise through litiko la health ukuthi lapha kusenenkinga kulesibhedlela lesimfike ngakuthola ukuthi lokunye ke lobe sikusebenza sibuka le central medical stores ukuthi lama controls akanjani digital controls ema controls la physical fana nama camera kufana nama checking system etimoto kufana nabo inventory control ukuthi tintfo tebiwa ema warehouse konke lokhu sikubukile saze sihamba sayena setibhedlela njengasembabane safike sakubuka kwaba khona lawo ma recommendations leswenda ukuthi aku improve kanje lokhu sijabulisa ukuthi litiko la health liyakusebenza konke lokhu.
The First National Bank donated 40 desktop computers and 3 laptops to the University of Eswatini that will benefit students whilst pursuing their studies. UNESCO Vice-Chancellor Professor Justice Twala has thanked the bank and emphasized that they will encourage students to take good care of the equipment.
The computer lab that costed over 1.3 million emalangeni will benefit all learners of the institution since the need was very high. Dennis Mbingo, who is the FNB CEO, said they will continue assisting the institution in providing all necessities that will help the learners improve their learning process.
We do think we have a collective responsibility to challenge and assist the university to find that operating model that creates an urgent leap into the present, which is informed by the reality of stretched financial resources and the increasing availability of credible alternatives throughout the economy, by the way. It's not just with education.
Lo msebenzi ufika lapho university vele iyadzinga kubambisana nemabhange.
Professor Justice Twala, the Vice-Chancellor, says the bank came at a time where they are seeking assistance from different companies that will help improve the institution.
Iphindze isite nemiphakathi, iphindze improve impilo tebantu.
The SLC representative Bongmenzi Dlamini explains further on how the equipment will help improve their learning process.
The newly renovated computer lab will undoubtedly provide an improved learning environment and technological resources, empowering our students to excel in their academic pursuits.
FNB Eswatini donates this computer lab equipment to UNESCO at a time where the institution is in high need of assistance from different companies in the country. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I am Poguhle Dlamini in Matapa.
Minerals and mining help stimulate economic growth. This has been said by the chairperson of the Minerals and Mining Management Board, Prince Kuduza, during a demonstration of the airborne geophysical method.
Of Natural Resources and Energy and the Minerals and Mining Management Board gathered at the King Mswati III International Airport for the demonstration of the airborne geophysical method for the second phase of the multidisciplinary geoscience mapping survey. Minerals and Mining Management Board Chairperson Prince Kuduza shared the importance of minerals and mining to the country's economic growth.
We believe this is going to help the country at large, because now this is going to enable the investors to be able to determine what obtains depending on their various interests, what is it that they would love to mine in the country. And we, according to our wish, it will be like your job could have finished by yesterday, so that we know the entire country, what does it have for us.
The Minister of Natural Resources, PS Dokas Dlamini, pleaded for eMaswati's support and cooperation for the success of the project.
Ngicela ukukhuthaza eMaswatini ukuthi njengoba bayibona le ndiza ihamba la emoyeni, sivile ukuthi ihamba about 30 meters high, ihambele edvute nemhlaba. Ngicela ningethuki eMaswati lamahle solong lo msebenzi lobo wendiwa kaManzeni nakahoho. Asibuki la ngetulu kwemhlaba ukuthi kunani, sibuka ngaphansi kwemhlaba. Sifuna lama minerals lesinawo silive stokhona bese ke siyawamina sesi develop live lethu singeMaswati.
New Resolution Geophysics head field engineer Jakes Botha gave a brief of the airborne geophysical system.
We then receive the signal back in the middle, that fiberglass enclosure in the middle. We receive the signal from the metal, and that data gets analyzed. So we get a reading 25 times per second of what's under the ground.
The survey is set to take 2 to 3 months, and it will cost the government 18 million emalangeni. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkal Suekoza, King Mswati III International Airport.
The Forum for African Women Educationalists today began its gender-responsive pedagogy workshop at the Global Village aimed at capacitating local teachers on giving the girl child a better life. This has been said by the FAWESO Programs Manager Tani Shongo, who also said education is the key to success, but being persistent and not giving up will get you far in life.
The 5-day workshop entered its first day today at the Global Village Guest House in Madonsa under the theme Gender Responsive Pedagogy for Teachers, solely aiming at equipping school teachers on giving the girl child a better life.
Sibuke umfana nentombazana ufunza kwemfana nentombazana kubakhuthaza ukuthi etikolweni abaqhubeke bafunze bangaphumi etikolweni.
We are focusing on the girl child. The girl child must pursue her studies even after she fails or falls pregnant. She can also help improve the country's economy.
Teresa Omondi from FAWESO, Kenya, says as an organization they promote gender responsiveness.
Today we're here to speak to our teachers on having a gender responsive classroom where both girls and boys can participate equally, ask questions equally, allow both boys and girls to answer questions at the same time, use a curriculum that is responsive to giving opportunity for both boys and girls.
Eswatini Mbimbili, who was one of the participants, said this workshop will equip them with the right information on how to help the girl child.
Lokusifundisa kwabo siyathemba nathi ukuthi masibela emakhaya noma ke etikolweni batafike siwendlulise lo mlayeto abantwana bakhona ukuthi basita kahle.
GBV was one of the matters discussed today, and as the week goes, issues surrounding sexual harassments and trauma will also be discussed. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I am Poguhle Dlamini in Madonsa.
The Central Bank of Eswatini says the cross-border foreign exchange transaction reporting system version 3 will play a major role in uplifting the country's economy and informing policy. This has been said by the lead specialist financial Mduduzi Mthethwa when detailing how the system works and how it will be of benefit to the financial sector.
It's an electronic system that sits between the authorized dealers and the central bank. It reports the activities of the banks real time to central bank the following day. So then when we view it from before we have the system in place, we were receiving the transaction manually, which was, we will say, it was tediousness. In a nutshell, the data that is being collected in the system assists in determining the level of the country's foreign reserves. Also, international trade activities are being captured under this system. The data is subsequently used for financial decision, planning, and policy formulation, as well as debt monitoring. You will remember that as a country, sometimes we borrow money, bomakhelwane. So as a central bank, we need to track how the country is committed, both from government level and then from, I would say, the citizens of the country.
The sector in the country will now have an easier way to submit its tax information, as the Eswatini Revenue Service will soon introduce the Integrated Revenue Administration System. The ERS Director, Communications Director, Vusi Dlamini, says business people will be taken through the system, stating that it has been made user-friendly.
Basically, this system will appear to our clients through our online platform, which is basically a 24-hour platform. The most important thing that we need to mention is that there will be some changes compared to the current system. For instance, the current system uses a taxpayer identification number for logging in purposes, but this new system is going to use your email address. We know that if you create one email address, is your email address. You should be able to remember it. So it's going to be using that kind of login details, and then you'll create your own password. I think the one critical thing we need to mention is that we will be pulling our data for the new system in the current system. So it is critical that business people are clear and they have an up-to-date email address in our system, so that whenever the time comes for them to enroll into this new system, their details are actually up to date.
National news, the death toll from central Chile's blazing wildfires climbed to at least 112 people on Sunday after President Gabriel Boric warned the number would rise significantly as teams search gutted neighborhoods.
Charred, smoking remains of homes and cars lie scattered across Viña del Mar in central Chile. Local residents say the flames swept through neighborhoods with such speed they barely had time to flee.
It was a matter of seconds. The smoke came from below, up there, and we were trapped. And you couldn't get out. It was just from one moment to the next. You went into your house to look for something and you came out and everything was already flooded. Smoke was everywhere. Children were already losing consciousness.
Thank God my father's house did not burn down completely, but my neighbor's house, my brother's house, everything burnt down. It is terrible to wake up the next day and see all this.
Not everyone had time to escape. Rescue workers say they've had to recover the dead bodies of victims in the streets. Others died in their homes. Chile's President, Gabriel Boric, has declared a state of emergency and 2 days of mourning.
I want to communicate that I have decreed 2 days of mourning, starting on February the 5th. All of Chile is suffering and mourning its victims.
The fires have been blazing across the touristic region of Valparaiso, which lies about an hour and a half away by road from the capital, Santiago. On Friday, thick smoke forced authorities to close the highway linking the region to the capital. Soaring temperatures coupled with dry conditions have fueled the flames, a nightmare scenario for the 1,400 firefighters who've been mobilized to put out the blazes.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken headed to the Middle East for another crisis tour on Monday in a bid to secure a new truce in the Israel-Hamas war as southern Gaza saw no let-up in fighting.
Civilians and aid workers desperately search through the rubble of a destroyed building, hoping to find any signs of life. The latest Israeli strikes on Deir el-Balah, a city located in the middle of the Gaza Strip, flattened a handful of buildings on Sunday, including one of the area's largest mosques, killing dozens in the process.
The occupation army claimed that Deir al-Balah is a safe area. We were safe and secure, living in our homes. We were surprised by missiles that shook the world, shook the earth, destroyed everything.
Those lucky enough to survive the attack were rushed to the nearby Al-Aqsa hospital, a building which is already well over capacity. These children were forced to sit on the floor as they received aid. Not only are there not enough beds, but doctors are also in short supply.
At some point, the hospital had a medical staff of about 450 doctors, but now there are only 100, and this is not enough for the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, especially as this is the main hospital in the central region. Also, many patients were displaced from North Gaza to South Gaza.
Deir el-Balah and Rafah are the only two cities in Gaza where Israel has not yet deployed tanks, but airstrikes in both areas have stepped up a notch in recent days. On Sunday, the Hamas-run health ministry said that more than 27,000 Palestinians have been confirmed killed since the war began, with women and children making up 70% of that number.
The United States on Sunday warned Iran and the militias it arms and funds that it will conduct more attacks if American forces in the Mid-East continue to be targeted, but that it does not want an open-ended military campaign across the region.
The
This footage, released by US Central Command, shows US naval vessels launching strikes at Houthi targets. A day after US and UK forces conducted another series of air raids against the Iran-backed Yemeni group, US Central Command said it had carried out more strikes against Houthi missiles in Yemen.
On February 4th, at approximately 5:30 a.m. Sana'a time, U.S. Central Command forces conducted a strike in self-defense against a Houthi land attack cruise missile. Beginning at 10:30 a.m., U.S. forces struck 4 anti-ship cruise missiles, all of which were prepared to launch against ships in the Red Sea.
It follows months of attacks on commercial and military ships by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea that have disrupted international trade. The group say their attacks are in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Houthi officials have vowed retaliation to the US-led strikes. It comes days after the White House conducted airstrikes on Iran-backed targets in Iraq and Syria, in response to a drone attack last weekend in Jordan that killed 3 US soldiers. Washington blamed their deaths on the Islamic resistance in Iraq, an umbrella group of Iran-backed militias.
What happened on Friday was the beginning, not the end of our response, and that there will be more steps, some seen, some perhaps unseen, all in an effort to send a very clear message that when American forces are attacked, we will respond, and we will respond forcefully. I would not describe it as some open-ended military campaign.
Tehran has denied involvement in the Jordan attack. It denounced the US-UK strikes in Yemen, saying that they, quote, contradict claims by London and Washington that they do not want wider conflict in the region.
Riot police fired tear gas to break up crowds trying to gather outside Senegal's parliament on Monday to protest against the president's postponement of elections over the weekend.
Some people protested, setting up barricades in Dakar, the Senegalese capital. They converged, heeding the call of some opposition candidates to express their anger at President Macky Sall's postponement of the presidential election. Police responded with tear gas.
The president is violating the constitution in a very flagrant manner.
In tension related to the opposition, former Prime Minister Aminata Touré, now a leading opposition leader, was arrested while arriving at one protest. She had condemned Macky Sall's decision to postpone the election as an unprecedented democratic regression in a post on social media on Saturday. Sall, who is not running for another term, justified the postponement, saying it was due to a dispute between the National Assembly and the Constitutional Court over the rejection of certain presidential candidates. One opposition group will appeal the decision.
Our parliamentary group will lodge an appeal against the resolution with the Constitutional Council on Monday.
In other developments, private broadcaster Walf TV was taken off the air. The Communications Ministry said its coverage of the protests amounted to incitement to violence. A Senegalese government spokesman speaking to France 24 said the protests were unauthorized.
Today you can see people, the opposition, protesting, even though they complain to the president about the system of sponsorship for the presidential elections. These are people who say one day the sponsorship system didn't work, the Constitutional Court didn't do its job, but then the next day they don't want the election to be delayed, even though that's what they wanted to begin with.
Opposition leaders and presidential candidates have lined up to denounce Sall's move. Under Senegal's election code, at least 80 days must pass between the publication of the decree setting the date for the vote and the election itself.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Saudi Arabia on Monday, his 5th visit to the Middle East since the October 7th Hamas attacks, to support talks on a new truce between Israel and the Palestinian militant group. He also expected to make stops in Qatar, Egypt and Israel.
It's the US Secretary of State's 5th trip to the Middle East since October, another attempt to ease tensions in the region. After visiting Saudi Arabia, Antony Blinken is expected to fly to Egypt, Qatar and Israel to press for a new hostage deal. The trip comes amid discussions over a new possible agreement for a pause in Israeli military operations in exchange for the release of hostages held by Hamas.
Ultimately, the question of whether those hostages will be released comes down to a negotiation among Israel and Hamas backed by Egypt, Qatar, and the United States. We believe that now, at this point, it's up to Hamas to come forward and respond to what is a serious proposal.
The US's tone with Israel has shifted slightly since Blinken's last visit. It hasn't gone as far as to call for a ceasefire, but President Joe Biden has approved sanctions on 4 Israeli settlers accused of attacking Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Blinken isn't the only one on a diplomatic trip to the region. French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné was in Egypt on Sunday, reiterating France's push for a ceasefire and the need for a two-state solution.
You've raised concerns about the forced displacement of people on your territory. We fully understand these concerns, and France's position on this issue is consistent. We condemn and will reject any action taken in this direction.
Egypt has been warning against a forced transfer of Gazans into its Sinai Peninsula as Israeli forces step up their operations in the south of the Strip, where more than half of the civilian population has taken refuge.
Central Election Commission's decision leaves Russians with 2 choices in next month's presidential election: vote for war or don't vote at all.
Boris Nadezhdin is the hope of pacifist voters in Russia, the only electoral candidate whose platform includes a proposal for immediate peace talks with Kyiv. But his candidacy could quickly disappear. The Russian Central Election Commission says 15% of signatures among the more than 100,000 that the candidate presented to endorse his candidacy are invalid. For some independent observers, this is a political decision aimed at preventing incumbent President Vladimir Putin from having to face a pacifist.
The election committee is just a mechanism, a technical one. A decision will be made in completely different spots. Russia is an absolutely feudal state governed by the lieutenant generals. Vladimir Putin does not have to take part in any elections.
Nadezhdin is running as the candidate of the 10-year-old center-right Civic Initiative Party. His campaign team is well aware that there is a high chance he will be removed from the electoral race, but he is confident he has popular support.
It is impossible to prevent a person who actually collected hundreds of thousands of signatures from participating in political elections.
Nadezhdin says he will appeal, but if he's ultimately out of the race, Vladimir Putin will not have to face any candidate who questions his vision of the war. With political figures such as opponents Alexei Navalny or Sergei Uldovtsov behind bars, only the liberal Yabloko Party was officially opposed to the so-called special military operation, but the party has decided not to take part in this poll.
For 30 years, or even going deeper in history, the people were told that their own choice was of no significance. The results of the elections are known in advance. Your voice means nothing, you can do nothing, all politicians are similar.
Vladimir Putin's most likely opponents will be the Communist Party and the ultra-nationalist Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, both of which support the invasion of Ukraine. The Just Russia for Truth Party did not present a candidate and endorsed Putin. Its slogan, "For a great country, for Putin." With the campaign dominated by the war in Ukraine, Russians will be called to the poll with practically 2 options: vote for war or not vote at all.
Fireworks erupted in El Salvador's capital on Sunday as President Nayib Bukele claimed a massive first-round re-election victory on the back of a war on gangs credited with slashing homicide rates in the violence-weary country.
He styles himself as the most popular dictator in the world, and El Salvador's general election may have proven it. Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele hopes that his sweeping victory on Sunday will give credibility to a tenure that has been marked by erosion of the rule of law. Indeed, a main factor in his high approval rating has been his strong-arm tactics to quash rampant gang violence.
We are on the cusp of winning the war against the gangs. Literally,
We went from being, and it's not an exaggeration, it's not a hyperbole, literally we went from being the most dangerous country in the world to being the most secure in all of the Western Hemisphere.
In 2018, El Salvador faced a murder rate of 53 per 100,000 people, but under Bukele, it has been reduced to 2.4 per 100,000. Bukele has launched campaigns of mass arrests, imprisoning more than 75,000 people, 2% of the country. Human rights organizations have also documented arbitrary arrests, enforced disappearances, torture, and massive violations of due process. Most Salvadorans are unbothered, however.
The decisions that he has made are fine. Thank God that so far we live in freedom. Many people think that it's a dictatorship, but it's not. Or even if it is a dictatorship, it's an excellent one.
Bukele's greatest challenge will be righting the country's flagging economy. Economic growth has largely stalled despite Bukele's efforts to project prosperity, including making El Salvador the first country to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. Many foreign investors have been scared off by Bukele's unpredictability. A quarter of Salvadorans now live in poverty and half face food insecurity in 2023.
Germans took to the streets again over the weekend to protest far-right extremism after it was revealed that members of the right-wing Alternative for Germany party discussed the forcible transfer of migrants, including German citizens, at a secret meeting.
Outside the German parliament, some 150,000 protesters formed what they called a firewall against right-wing extremism Saturday. The targets of their anger, the Alternative for Germany party, or AfD. Among the protesters were senior German politicians.
The AfD will never gain power in this country. We will all take a clear stand against it.
Nationwide protests have been held every weekend since mid-January, when the website Corrective revealed that AfD politicians had discussed the forcible transfer of migrants out of the country, even those with German citizenship, at a secret November meeting in Potsdam outside Berlin.
Neo-Nazis, donors, and AfD politicians spoke very specifically about the realization of the expulsion of millions of people from Germany. And this is a situation in which the AfD has a real option to gain power.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has welcomed the protests.
There is something in Germany which must never ever find a place again. It is the national race ideology of the Nazis. The repulsive relocation plans by these extremists is just that.
AfD co-leader Alice Weidel called the report a left-wing campaign.
The real enemies of the Constitution are those who call for a ban on parties.
Germany's painful history under Adolf Hitler and the Nazis makes the country acutely sensitive to right-wing extremism. There are growing calls to ban the AfD.
Forced transfer of people to other places sounds very familiar in a German context, and frankly, Germany cannot afford that. But in this case, the Article 21 of the German Constitution says that anything that will undermine or challenge the German democratic order is unconstitutional. There is then a process whereby the Ministry of the Interior will refer a particular party to the Supreme Court.
That would be a highly controversial step against the AfD, a party polling in second place at around 20%. With European and German state elections scheduled later this year, the political temperature is rising.
In our sports news, the Eswatini Volleyball Association Vice Secretary Nobuhle Dlamini says the Mula Sports Series tournament has brought serious competition among teams in the male and female categories since last year. Dlamini was speaking at the games as the games were entering the third series at Olympia Africa, Lobamba.
120,000 emalangeni last year in volleyball series competitions, with correctional both male and female winning the first two series. According to the association's Vice Secretary General, Nobuhle Dlamini, the tournament that is heading to the semi-finals will be getting even tougher.
So far, games adlala kahle, teams uyabona ukuthi ati preparation kahle ne break lebe bayithethe. Ngakholwa ukuba sitile because isikhathi lesiningi cha sibajimile kakhulu.
Some teams have already passed the semi-final stages, with Correctional to face Zakhele, while Reps will face Scorpions. The games will play on the weekend of the 24th to the 25th this month. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Lida Dlamini, Mbabane.
We've come to the end of our bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm a very happy customer.
I know.
Imali ebhizinisi ayidliwa wayidla utolala phansi.
Hayi ngimsebenzi yethu lesendako la ekhaya njengoba niyibona limihle nakangaka.
Ngiyakolosha which is crocheting.
Ngiyakhicita ke noko kakhulu emsebenzini wethu ikhumba.
Ngenda kodaba emacici nokodaba entsanyeni.
Ngilungisa emagedlela.
Hello, how are you? We are selling peanuts at 5. Thank you so much. Umdala kubusi. Find the strat, babe.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhicita lokumsebenzini.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
welcome to the program. Today is Safer Internet Day, and with the increase in the number of people spending more time on the internet, as well as their mobile phones, from online schooling, online shopping, and even social media, there's now a greater emphasis for everyone, from children, parents, as well as stakeholders, to be more vigilant in being protected from online predators. It is happening at a time when the digital potential of children, or rather of economies, is at an all-time high. Online activity is very crucial. Kusile Vilane is the Consumer Affairs and Communications Manager with the Eswatini Communications Commissions. She joins us now in studio to talk about this important day. Welcome to the program, Kusile. A very good morning to you. What an important day. I'm just thinking to myself as I'm introducing you. We just saw the Commerce Minister, Mr. Mongoba Khumalo, ukhulumisa indaba yokuthi livela kangwane seliqalile officially ku-trader under African Continental Free Trade Area, the agreement with the developments lendekile South Africa sekunemavela sihlanu sevela trade, and Eswatini is a part of them. Uthinza indaba yokuthi kufuna kakhulu ke siqinisele uhlangothi lwethu laka digital laka e-commerce ukuthi sikhona trader khona. I'm just thinking some of the potential threats that awuba khona lapho sike seva Nicholas Jele kulaba baka fraud emaphoyiseni bathi nizabekwe ukuthi ngaJanuary babuka imali letilinganiselwa over 4 million emaswati letithethwe nje online. Kubuka nje bumqoko abalusuku lolu ekuthenini vele ne raise le awareness, maybe kusipha le overview ye Safer Internet Day.
Ngubingelele Sifiso ekseni ngibingelele nembukeli ekhaya. Uqinisile vele internet seyiyonke indzawo. Internet isivulela iminyango lebeside yona ngaphambilini. Internet yenda umhlaba ube mncane sonke iyasonzeta. Inetimvo letinhle kakhulu letanato ematfuba lesivulela wona singemaswati kwekokuthi nathi singasalele emuva sibe sihambe nemhlaba wonke. Kepha ke ayidi nebuhle kuphela. Nakhona kukhona tinhlangothi lokhanza kokuthi vele tiba ingodi kithi singemaswati sisayisebenzisa. Ukhulumile nje babejele nje ngoba ngisho labanye lesebenzisana nabo emaphoyiseni kwekokuthi sifundzise sive ngokuthi ingabe bangaphepha kanjani, because cyber security definitely is becoming a concern. Kukhona ke leti ngodi letikhona ukuthi bamvu bahlakaniphela labanye kumbe kube khona ne information noma imininingwane lokhanza ukuthi iyahamba ngalokungekho emthethweni ukhansela ukuthi sebayagebengeka bamvu. Ngako kuyafuna lokuthi sitifundise singemaswati, kuyafuna lokuthi siqinise sihlale sicaphele. Kepha ke ngibuya kuleli langa leli lanamuhla la Safer Internet Day lesili commemorate ako. Safer Internet Day ikakhulu obukati indzabate bamfula basha ubukati indzabate bamvana, lokusho ukuthi ikakhulu kumbe akubi ngiloko ema scams or fraud or online banking, but nje kunetinkinga lokhanza ukuthi vele tihlukubeta bamvana noma bamfula basha. Sithi ke kuleli langa leli asesiphindze futhi sibekeliso kakhudlwanyana kokuthi ingabe yini letinkinga kokuthi ingabe yini lichaza lelingadlalwa ngilabo labehlukene emangweni kuze ukuthi sikhone ukuthi silaphe lo mkhuhlane.
Basha and Vanvana, they are on the internet, particularly for school now, as well as, just online chatting, social media. So maybe if you look at these three things, what are the biggest threats, the potential threats langabakona basafunza online esikolweni?
Esikolweni online lesikukhanzile nje sisakhulumisana ngoba siyesivakashele netikola uyakhanza lokuthi baye baniketwe kumbe lobuchwephesha noba labangcovomshini ukuthi babasebenzisa ukuthi bafunze. Ukhanze ukuthi bese sekuba nale component ye research noma kumbe ukuthi batfole lwadi ngaletinye itimvo lokusho ukuthi sebayangena ke kulo lwandle lolukhulu lwe-internet ukuthi bangabuka noma ngabe yini. Ukhanze ukuthi kuleto timvo bamfana kumbe sebabuka noma kumbe sebaba exposed to i-content lengabalungeli ngeminyaka yabo. Kungaba i-content lokhanza ukuthi ema-games akhona yebo ebamfana, kepha bese kuba khona lawa lafuna ukuthi bese uyagembula, lokusho ukuthi lapho sekufuna ukuthi ube naye lo 18 or older. Kube khona titfombe lokhanza ukuthi adibalungeli bamfana, nalapho ukhanza ukuthi sebayatibona. Ukhanza ukuthi nabo bamfana baseseklasini nje kumbe kuba nema WhatsApp groups lokhanza ukuthi asetshenziswa ukuthi bothishela basende ama assignment ku discuss umsebenzi wesikole. Uyakhanza lokho ukuthi bese bamfana sebacala kucalana khona lapho. sekuba ne-cyberbullying lekhona sekunetitfombe letihambako lapho kuhlekiswa ngalabanye bamfana so tonke leto timvo leto ukhanza ukuthi tiyenteka tisiphunyukele kanti besithi kumbe sita kahle ngalokuthi vele kumele bafunze online.
It's quite interesting. Another thing that I've noted is the generational and I'd say the generational digital divide leba khona kubantfana besikolo nabotishela. I think tishela nangabe wafunza mabomo sithi tishela wa graduator in the early 2000s as an ICT teacher. Uyofundisa umfana nyalo who was born during a time when social media was at an all-time high. Le digital divide leyo ngabe iba threat kangakanani maybe hampering maybe lokufundisa nje first and foremost ekutheni labantwana ironically bakhanza sebacabanga ukuthi bangafundisa lo tishela ngayo le internet and some of the potential threats that could come with that.
Uqinisile vele bamfana sebayasifundisa nami nje lekhaya kukhona labancane lokhaza ukuthi leti yetimvo ngitiva ngabo ukuthi setiqalile kepha ke kumcoka kuleli langa leli nje nako lokunye lesikhanza ukuthi sigcizelela kuko lokuthi sibatali awungabe soyahlala uthi angiletimvo te-internet kuyafuna lokuthi utifundise nawe kuze ukuthi wadi kuyafuna nalokuthi nikhulume nebamfana batokhona lokuthi bakubhobokele ukuthi kwentekani nawe ukhone lokuthi manje ke nikhulume nje ubatshele ukuthi tifiso takho tithini esikhatsini lesiningi uyukhaza ukuthi mase kunenkinga umfana soyesaba lokuthi edla kuwe athi kunesithombe sami lesihambako make kumbe bengingakagcoki kahle kanje ngalokuthi vele uyati ukuthi wena ntochamuka sohayize etulu kumbe sowuthetha kanti uma ngabe bekunzabale besolo niyikhuluma uyakhona kumbe umfana ukuthi akubhobokele lobo bucala lobo bukhole ukuthi kubikeke emaphoyiseni kungabi nje ukuthi manje ke bese umfana ufa edvana kumcoka naloko ukuthi ke ngitihluphe vele nami nje mangabe ngitfolile le internet ngikhona ekufunza ukuthi natimvo letinsha letendekako ngoba liqiniso lithi angeke usathi i-internet angeke isafika kakho onke emakhaya vele itawufika ngendlela lethite lokusho ukuthi kuyafuna lokuthi nathi sibe khona lesikwatiko ngayo sikhona nalokuthi sivikele letingoti.
Yeah, singena ke kunalihlangothi lwaka e-commerce. I was highlighting ukuthi utheni minister waka commerce bantu labasha nyalo nje without promoting brands maybe let me not mention brands but I know what women are into these days particularly shopping online the younger generation in particular nganye tsine fisiwe mina nje sengithi regardless umlosa khula but the youth nanabala bancane please clear my card sibatshela bo boyfriend what trend I think a week and a half ago on Twitter someone created a fake website Watsi gune sale.
Yes.
You saw that.
I did, yes.
And a lot of people realized that too late was I just literally spent my money on something lapakona. Yeah, and your information is compromised. Talk to us about such instances. The tinvoleticity avoid kanjani sinasibe careful kangakanani vele.
Kwekuqala nje kuqala kuloko ukuthi sibe vigilant noma kumbe sicaphele. Noma ngabe ungena kuphi ku internet kumcoka lokho ukuthi ubuke le site longena kuyo noma lenkundla longena kuyo lokuthanza ku download lapha nalapha ukhanza lokho ukuthi manje ke bese sekwenta ukuthi ugcina so unetimvo ecingweni lakho le tingeke tize stikside noma kumbe leti takufaka etinkingeni ema websites akhona uyayibona ilogo yenkampani uyabona i-address i-correct kuyafuna nalokuthi ibe nalo HTTPS because lo S lapha egcineni usho kona ukuthi it's a secure site lokusho ukuthi uma ngabe ufaka information yakho yemakhadi noma information yakho yetimali ukhanza lokho ukuthi igcineke kalula nalokho ukuthi ke sisathi tsanza timvo ngingimake nami siyathenga tinwele siyathenga ticatfulo siyathenga tikhwama esikhatsini lesiningi kuyafuna lokho ukuthi ukubuke if it's too good to be true esikhatsini lesiningi vele akulungi lokusho ukuthi kufuna nje ngibuke ukuthi manje ke uma ngabe ngithenga nasikhwama nasi sinanaligama nali angeke sekwenteke ukuthi sesingi 150 emalangeni lokusho ukuthi tonke leto timvo leto ngiletinye letenda ukuthi tinswela boya tingene ukhanze ukuthi setiyasikhuthuza ngalokuthi vele sithanza timvo ngasho kanjalo kukahle kuthanza timvo letinhle kepha kufuna lokho ukuthi vele ucaphele uhambe kahle.
It's quite interesting. 80% sale, but people can be very, very gullible. engabe sibeseke siba protector kanjani as a commission. I know niya intigcizelele tindzaba te legislation sihlale sinibona ni raise awareness ngato le act nje ya 2022. I remember very well ukuthi you were really out there informing amaswati. Talk to us about legislation around this. Si protected kangakanani?
Kuleli langa leli siphindze sikhutsata onke ama stakeholders ethu ukuthi indzaba yethu sonke lena. I-commission ikhona umthethonyalo ukhona Computer Crime and Cyber Crime Act of 2022 inawo lamacala inato futhi le tinswati tekushaya naba lokhanza ukuthi manje ke sebawuphulile lo mthetho lokusho ukuthi kumcoka ukuthi sitifundzise ngawo ukuthi uthini ngingadi khanzi kumbe sengende ebucala mina bengicabanga ukuthi manje ke ngiyadlala bengiposta nang Jason ngithi manje ke mbukeni namuhla ukuthi ugcoke kanjani bamhleka kwaba cyberbullying kanti lesithombe sichamuke kimi nginelicala vele lokusho ukuthi ngadi khanza nami sensetingingene siyatifundzisa ke ngemthetho siyakhutsata tinkampani lesebenta nato ikakhulu leti thengisa lusito loka communication kwekokuthi nalo lune responsibility yekokuthi ezibasadayisa kumcoka lokuthi baphindze futhi bafundzise labo labathengako about responsible use of internet lokusho ukuthi sisitana nabo siyasebenza nebasemaphoyiseni kakhulu etindzabeni ukuthi siphume siye etikolweni sifundzise bamfana naloko ukuthi ke uma ngabe sekwendekile lawa macala sibuke lokho ukuthi manje ke lama reports asitshela ini because uma ngabe sibona ukuthi kunelihlangothi lelikhulako kumcoka lokho ukuthi kukhona umsebenzi lekufuna siwufake lapho kuze ukuthi sehlise lawo mazinga emakhaya bamfana batali vele nakhona lapho siyakhutsata lokho ukuthi manje ke internet akube internet yokuthi sisebenzisela timvo letinhle ngoba ngalesinye isikhathi siye sibuke labo cyberbullying ngicabanga ukuthi ngilabanye bamfana batawubhulisha wakho umfana esikhathini lesiningi nalezilova uhlala naso la khaya kuyafuna nalokuthi nawe usikhulumise ukuthi yini ingoti dekokuthi ujwayele icala labanye bamfana ku internet ujwayele kukhuluma labanye bamfana tindzaba lo ngatati letingasilo liqiniso utispread ulimade ligama lalomunye umfana so tonke leto timvo leto ngiko lokungithi wonke umuntu unenzima yakhe la kayidlalako ukuthi manje ke sehlise kumbe lobucala lobukhona on the internet.
And certainly we do see ikakhulu nayo itsinzako ukuthi nje ukhanze ukuthi sekuhlekiswa ngemuntu internet. I think just a month and a half ago we did see a video of a young lady bekahamba lapha emanzini Bushrank who was captured without her knowledge wafakwa kubo Twitter nabo TikTok. People were making all sorts of funny comments kuye ngaye nangendlela agcoke ngayo. I can see what that can do to her self-esteem, the toll that it can take kuye. Lokho kuhamba kuwo lama parameters aletinvo lothi kufuna ukuthi baticaphele lo mvana lo nje nangathi uyababopha uyakhona vele kubabo.
Uma ngabe ngikhona nginebufakazi bekokuthi nguwe lo ngishuthile vele unelicala nami mina lobone leyo video ngayithatha ngayifaka kuma WhatsApp groups lamanye uthi ichubeke ihambe nami nginalo licala lokuthi manje ke iphindze ngabhebhetela lokuthi manje ke kuhlekiswe ngalomuntu lekuhlekiswa ngaye lokusho ukuthi lo mthetho vele nyalo uluma in such a way ukuthi ugatse ku discourage sonke lokuthi sente ebucala lophambelana ne internet because internet yimvo lenhle kepha ke sidayona vele ngalendlela lesenta ngayo timvo lokuthi bese sesilimata labanye bam kumcoka lokuthi sisebenzise ukuthi sakhe labanye lesiphila nabo.
Yeah, 4,941,441 emalangeni and Nicholas Jele even cites kuti ma cases lawa labasawasebena. This is a January report. I know we've highlighted it already, but again, most of these things happened on social media platforms lapho khona abantu bebasebenza ema-sites langekho trustworthy. Kunalenye indzaba lesevela nyalo just recently besiva ukuthi nema-emails uyakhanza ukuthi encenye wena nje ungangisendela i-email ngifoyele enye lefana neyakho ngithi khanza ngiklikha ku-link lapho khona ngingaluzati insamba tetimali ngiyatibuka dala ukuthi nalatikolweni siwasebenzisa kangaka ema-email just those potential threats lasakhona kugcizelela kakhulu vele ekuthenini nisafundzisa lamuhla. Where can people look out for le timfundziso teno and ukuthi how perpetual will these conversations be vele?
Vele sifisile ukuthi kungabi ngisefa internet day kuphela kepha umnyaka wonke sibe sikhulumisana na different stakeholders ngeke ukuthi
Right.
singanciphisa kanjani bucala lobukhona ku internet. Uqinisile ema-emails nawo ayayibanga inkinga ngeke ukuthi ngakuphumelela umlayeto ungadi ukuthi manje ke vele uchamuka kimbamba yini kepha makuthi ifisiwe vila ngicabanga ukuthi ngimi so uyasuke lapho ukhanza ukuthi uyaclicka mawuclicka so ufaka information yakho le sensitive ukhanzela ukuthi manje ke sengiyayitfola leyo information sengiyayisebenzisa nekwe ukuthi ke ngalesinye isikhathi akusiko nekwe ukuthi kune link batakuphumelela nje umlayeto bathi confirm ukuthi manje ke uhlala kuphi noma confirm ukuthi ubhanga kuphi timvu leti kanjalo ukhanzela ukuthi sengiyasuka lapho ngiyaniketa kumbe bathi confirm ukuthi password yakho yaka Facebook ithini usuke so ya confirm lapho sebayakhona ngena ku account yakho sebabhalela labanye bami ukuthi wena udzinga lisito kanjena udzinga imali kanjena kanti sebayabakhuthuza so kunengi lokungenteka vele sicizelela nje ekutheni uqaphela ngawubuyela lapho lokho ukuthi uma ngabe uclicka kumele ukuthi ucabange kucala siye sithi think before you click uyacabanga kucala ukuthi ngabe lemvo lena vele ngiyombamba yini uma ngabe ukhona ukuthi uyoyihlola la isuka khona uyangishayela licingo yathi ngiyayibona na i-email yakho lana ithini ngiyakhona lokho ukuthi manje ke bese sengiyasho ukuthi angiyadi email ukuthi ichamuke kuphi nami sengiyakhona kubona ukuthi sengicompromised somehow lokusho ukuthi ukhona lekufuna ukuthi ngikushintshe we are seeing a lot of fake accounts on social media lokhanza ukuthi sekutawuthiwa ngusifiso wase Eswatini TV so yangibhalela ungitshela ukuthi manje ke kumele ngite Eswatini TV noma ngiwine naku noma udayisa naku sengiyathemba nami kanti akusuwe lo lapha kule account lokusho ukuthi ngumkhuhlane nje lokhona vele lothebhebhene neEven sifisile lokho ukuthi manje ke simaswati sicaphele kuze ukuthi sitokhona ukuthi siphephe.
Speaking of fake accounts, this is a very interesting one. 12 hours ago, one of my friends sends me a DM on Instagram with a screenshot. He is followed by Russell_Miso_Dlamini_InstaPro with how Nangulelive Anglanzela ga Instagram. So it's such things we should be careful about because labanye bantu batat kanza ba DM wa ngilel page le maybe ba offerishela scholarship le fake. So maybe we can take this opportunity to notify people there's a current Prime Minister fake Instagram page that is currently making rounds on Instagram. People that should be, people should be aware of, but be careful ngayo. And it's so fun if you see where this one is tech savvy. I figured, hey, they took my Instagram account, it was hacked. So no one is really safe. I'm saying this to say sonke sive semaswati lamuhla Eswatini Communications Commission isathi yaqala namuhla ithi Internet Safer Day sonke asibe ngilabakhina ekuthenini sitfole leti imfundiso leti ungathi wena wati kakhulu funza lokho lokutawuphuma ku traditional media ku social media noma ngaphe nguphi. Thank you so much for your time Fisiwe.
Ngibonga kakhulu ngifisele umbukele ekhaya lilanga lelihle.
Thank you. Sitabahlala market masinyane sitawubuya sivale ihlelo.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho sivile sive sikhulume.
Come to the end of our show. It's 2 minutes before 8 o'clock. Smakuruteni Ketekwana from Seni. Do join us tomorrow for another episode of Kusile.
Yeah, look out for Market View at 2 p.m.
Oh, yes. Yeah. All right. See you tomorrow.
than snow, deeper than the ocean.